Welcome to Broadish, everyone. I'm Felicia Madison with our co-host Hollie Harper and Jocelyn Chia, and special guest with us today, Ellen Karis, live from Times Square.
She really is in Times Square.
Yeah, so we're going to get started, guys, with Biles back out. Simone Biles is not doing a backflip. She is backing out. The second Olympian to back out due to stress. And we discussed this last week that they didn't have fans, and maybe it was that she didn't have the fans to fuel her that she felt the stress. She's not in it. She backed out. They didn't win. They got a silver medal, the team. But yes, very sad. A lot of stress this year.
Well, for me, I don't think this is about Simone and fans not being there. I just think this, to me, I see part of it is the different kind of pressure that Black women have at competing in traditionally white spaces, especially Black athletes. I mean, she gets a tremendous amount of social media hate. I mean, did you see the article in Daily Beast of like how Russian commentators were speaking about her? Like, it reminds me of what Venus and Serena went through, what football players taking a knee go through, what wrestlers in high schools around the country forcing to cut their locks. I just feel like Black athletes do receive a certain amount of pressure that is added on top of the pressure that all athletes already feel, you know, with their bodies and their mental health. And she's a young woman. And I think she just decided to just be like, you know what, it's time. I know I'm the GOAT. It's okay if I sit this one out.
Yeah, I guess it's like Meghan Markle, right? She got so much negative attention from the British press that she's like, peace out, man. I'm moving back to America.
Yeah, I'm going with a love is served. Like, I'm good. And the thing is, Simone Biles, like she does stuff that no one else can even do. You know what I mean? Like, she does these things. So I'm just kind of like, if you need to look out for your mental health, I applaud you. Because you got to see that article in the Daily Beast, and you got to see how the Russian commentators, how they discuss her. It was foul. Like, they weren't discussing any other athletes this way. And it was just except when they called the Williams sisters, they called them the Williams brothers. That's what they did. So I'm just saying it is really insane.
You have some examples of what they said about her?
Saying that, she's supposed to be a woman. I'd like to see evidence, like she's supposed to be a woman, calling her a beast, calling her a gorilla. Wow. It's in the Daily Beast today. It was pretty bananas. I was just like, you're discussing a person. Like, you're discussing, this is a person. You're not even talking about her athletic ability. You're just discussing, saying she's mannish, she's this. It's just everything that Venus and Serena got, except, you know, their father is no joke. He would not allow his daughters to be subjected to a lot of that crap. But she's a young woman.
What I was going to say was exactly that. She is a young woman. She is 24. She has been doing this forever. Mm-hmm. There's something also I think about gymnasts in particular, because those girls, God forbid, their body changes even a little bit.
Yeah.
I've never been a gymnast, but I am a small woman, so I can.
What? You're small? No way.
I'm really small, but I've never gotten to the gymnast thing. So there is just like, even more than any other, I think, female sport. I think that one is incredibly taxing on your body. And when and I'm not going to pretend like I've been a huge follower of this. I know who she is. I've seen what she has done. She's amazing. God bless her. But she did that pole vault, that flip, that was when she landed, she almost lost her balance. Long story short, one little tiny move, she could have paralyzed herself. Mm-hmm. That goes for all the gymnasts, but obviously there was something about that seemed to trigger her to, like, I'm gonna break my neck if I continue on. In addition to the fact that these female gymnast teams, there was the pedophile Larry Nesser, let's say
his name. I forgot his name.
And he's a piece of dung, and he completely has destroyed all of these girls, whoever he has abused. And obviously this has come back to haunt her. So listen, everybody, it's a game, okay? She's not splitting the atom. She's not curing cancer. If she can't do it, she can't do it, and that's it. Would it have been, obviously, would it have been great in a perfect world that she realized this prior to going? Of course, but sometimes life doesn't work out that way. And I think for everything that this girl has delivered, in addition to all the money that she has earned for other people, give her a pass, for God's sakes. And she should take this time to go get whatever help that she needs and figure out what program that she needs. And let me just say one more other thing with especially gymnastics, but with all athletes, I know that the time frame is very, very short. So she doesn't have like a ton of years in front of her. She's not going to be doing this when she's 40. She's 24 already. So my God, there's disgusting people in the world, and this is who we're picking on. I mean,
Well, it begs the question if the Olympics is something that should be gotten rid of.
No, I think we can get rid of the pedophiles. Pedophile doctors, you know what I mean? Like, imagine that. Like, I remember how she didn't want to say if she was assaulted by that guy for a long time. And people are like, like kind of scolding her for it and criticizing her for it. But then like, I understand exactly why. Allie Raisman is not there with her. These other girls are not there with her. She's the face of that sexual assault from that asshole. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I get why she feels the added pressure. The whole world looking at you, knowing what's happened to you, even though like it's not her shame.
Yeah, Naomi Osaka, she also backed down from pressure. I just think it's too much pressure from such a young age. And these kids, they're young. They shouldn't be living with people at such a young age and being in the hands of people without parental supervision. I think it's gotten ridiculous. It's gotten to the point where these kids move away from their families into these communes to not go to school and to prepare for these Olympics. I think it's gotten out of hand. Look at
Naomi Osaka. Then you got Naomi Osaka having like Megyn Kelly, this, grown ass racist white bitch, like tweeting about her starting a war with this young girl, just being a total bully. It's just like, yeah, your mental health is challenged. Yeah, it's challenged. So whatever these girls need to do to get their piece, I'm all for it.
Something you said, Felicia, about it's funny. You speak as a mother as well as what I was, because you wouldn't do that to your kids too. And I completely agree with that. And it reminds me of Britney Spears. And not to veer off topic too much, but I remember watching an interview with Britney Spears at like the height. It was like a 2020. And I remember her saying that she did not finish the 8th grade. They were already driving back and forth from, I believe it's Louisiana, where she's from, so she can audition and be in front of managers. And I remember back then thinking to myself, there's no shortcuts in life. This girl did not finish the 8th grade. You just can't skip your childhood and then be thrown into this adult world. And God knows of all the adults that were around her, that again, it's all about profit and taking advantage. So I completely agree. But with the gymnastics team in particular, because now everybody has spoken out, that's really scary stuff. And what kind of a parent does that? And sometimes it's the parent, because they didn't have their day in the sun. They see their kid has this special talent, and then they push their kid to do that. So I'm with you with that.
Okay, well, let's hope, bottom line, let's hope she gets the help she needs and is back on track, not so much as a gymnast, but as a successful human being in the world. So a shout out to Simone. Moving on, I can't think of a segue for this, but say it isn't true. No, I do not want to put a mask back on. I just don't. I will not, Sam. I am. I mean, please tell me it's not happening again.
It's happening again.
Oh my God, you sound like having to go from no condoms back to condoms again. No.
Well, I mean, you got the Delta variant, you got, people keeping it going, this is expected. It sucks. I hate wearing a mask. Like, I hate wearing a mask, but I hate to die too. So I'm kind of like, all right.
But the thing is, this is where I have an issue. If you've gotten vaccinated and you get the Delta variant, you basically get the flu. You're not really going to die. So I mean, can you imagine a day where they made us wear masks for the regular flu, that you were put on your back for 10 days? Some people that didn't get the flu shot got the flu. You were like 10 days out with the flu. How is this different?
Yeah. It's not just that people are more paranoid about it. And the part that pisses me off is exactly for us, it's like a mild flu probably. Those who didn't get vaccinated at risk. And yes, there's some with medical exceptions, but there's so many who refuse to get vaccinated. And so we have to mask up for their fucking sake. I'm like, let them die. You know what? There'll be less dumbasses in this world.
Yeah, I agree with you, except for the kids. You know,
the kids. Like
Yeah,
I have
sure.
a 9-year-old son. I don't want him. I don't want my son in school with people who are not wearing masks, and I don't want my son having any teachers or people working on him who are not vaccinated. I kind of feel like if you don't want to get vaccinated, fine, but you shouldn't be mixing with people that are vulnerable to COVID. And so,
it's
like
there was a while where smokers were like, oh, we should smoke wherever. And they were like, no, you're infringing on our rights to inhale clean air. So it's the thing. Mm-hmm. The big thing now, you assholes are infringing on our right to not wear a mask now. It's so funny. You know, they, at that time, these anti-vaxxers were probably the same as the anti-maskers. They were like, oh, we want to have the right not to wear a mask. And now because of them, we are like, but we want to have the right not to wear a mask.
Yeah, I just feel like all these rights conversations are people just want the right to hurt other people. Like they really just don't care. Like with the smokers, I remember that. Yeah, you make a very good point, Jocelyn. I remember the whole anti-smoking and people were like, we should be able to smoke anywhere. And it's like, but we don't want to breathe that shit. Like,
and we still do breathe it. I mean, you can't walk down the street. Well, now it's pot. I'm not a pot smoker. I don't like it. I don't care. I don't care what you do at home. You could smoke till the cows come home. But I walked through a huge cloud. Okay, so you know, nobody talks about that. That's supposed to be. Again, I don't care that you do it. But I don't want to have to smell it. I don't want to have to inhale it. The masks, by the way, unfortunately, I mean, I get it and all that, but it's not healthy. I don't know about you guys. I'm coughing, like, you know, I will come home, I'm like coughing. I feel like dirty here inside. It's really not healthy. I realize it's a protective measure and all that other kind of stuff, but there are definitely repercussions from the mask. But I love your point. I definitely think, Felicia, what you said was right about if this was the regular flu, but now because we identified this thing and it's got a name and we kind of know where we surmise where it comes from. And I wish we can get a handle more on the virus itself, because this is going to keep going on. You know, there's going to be more variants. It's
not going away. It's not going away.
Right. So I agree.
And that's what these anti-vaxxers are doing. They're putting us at risk for more variants that may now really evade the vaccine. So
yes,
I was so mad at them.
That's the thing, because they hold it and it gives them agents for it to become a variant. It holds it to become a variant that could. So it's not fair to us. Like it's not fair to us at all.
Mm.
Well, it's also not fair.
Oh my God, there was this one thing.
Go ahead.
She wrote it. She was interviewed and she was like, I'm taking my time with the vaccine and I don't think I should be judged or forced to take it. Society would just have to wait for us. Like, oh my God, like off with her head. I wanted to punch this girl in the face.
Well, you know,
I really, of all the people, I hope she gets the Delta variant and dies.
Well, the other problem is this variant wouldn't also happen if the rest of the world was vaccinated, and maybe some people could blame the United States for not sharing the vaccine, because it's not coming and starting in the United States. It's starting in other countries where they're not being vaccinated because they just don't have access to it.
Wasn't it like made in India, but India's got like a horrific epidemic? I mean,
everything's made in India.
I know. I mean,
India got jacked up by COVID.
I don't understand. We were throwing vaccines out that were expiring. So I don't know I don't want to blame it on the United States. I don't know what all the inner workings are, but you know, these country leaders are responsible to take care of their people too. Like, why isn't there a main coordination with this? The CDC, the WHO, you know, I agree with you too, because even if we're in a great shape here, something always starts someplace else. So I do
agree with that. I mean, the way Obama handled I can't remember what it was. Ebola was he said the best way to protect Americans is to nip it in the bud in Africa. And so he
over there,
yeah.
But yeah, Obama was smart. You know, he was smarter than people. The last president, he was just like, no, it's not happening.
For sure.
And then this man, remember he was breathing.
Although when he tried, don't forget when Trump tried to stop people from coming in from Asia, he got a lot of flack for that. He was told, they can't do that. That's racist. That happened.
Well, yeah, he got flack because he was lying. He wouldn't have been called racist if he wasn't lying to us about why he was stopping them. He was lying. So he wouldn't say COVID. He wouldn't say COVID. He wasn't saying COVID was a threat. So no, yeah, he was being racist. He wasn't saying COVID.
It was the China flu.
But he was he wasn't calling it any. And then then the little racist China flu. Like no, he didn't get any kind of points for stopping China because he was stopping them a little bit here, but then letting everything happen here and then lying to us for months about what was happening. He gets no points for that. He's a racist bastard.
I just noticed that the girl that was all like, society will have to wait for me. I'm taking my own sweet time. I actually looked her up afterwards and I noticed that when I typed in her first name, Google immediately populated her last name. I think a lot of people reading that New York Times article like, who is this bitch?
Well, there's a lot of anger towards these people, and it's very interesting. It's going to be let's see what happens. There's going to be, I guarantee, violence against them.
I see a lot of people who were like, "How dare you guys shaming us for not wanting the vax? I thought you guys were pro-choice. That means pro-choice my body." I was like, "No, pregnancy is not. Pregnancy is not contagious." Okay, so that's my body. You know what I mean? When you are keeping COVID going, now you're affecting my body. So like being pro-choice about shaming anti-vaxxers is really right on brand.
That had to be a man.
It was a man. And I was like, you're not even getting it. Pregnancy is not contagious. What are you talking about?
He's definitely not getting it from anyone. Okay, guys, are we done with the masks are back? Or do you think we're going to all be masked again soon? Is that the...
My kids are going to be masked at school. They've already sent out emails and stuff. My kids are going to be masked at school. So
that sucks. That just sucks.
Whether it really works. I mean, you walk by something smelly with your mask on, you can still smell. You can still smell smoke if you're walking by it. So particles are so tiny that I don't really think the mask is really helping that much. It's the vaccine that we need. And I think other experts have said it's the vaccine that we need.
Mask is a broad term because some people just wear like a scarf. Some people like, it's not like we have a universal mask. Not that I am suggesting that. I am just saying that masks come in all different shapes and sizes. So I'm not quite sure how effective.
Well, some folks, you see them with that shield. They just have the shield and no mask.
And that doesn't help either because it comes
And I'm
underneath.
like, what is that doing?
Underneath.
I wonder from a comedy point of view, what are we going to do if the masks come back?
Audiences and masks.
Well, forget about audiences. What are we going to do? We can't perform in a mask.
I've seen people do it. It's kind of funny.
And they have that show, The Masked Singer. Maybe we'll have the masked comedian. We'll just wear like these huge things over our head.
I'll be a bear.
I'll be a bear. We'll be bears together.
Singing Luther Vandross songs. I'll be a bear singing Cyndi Lauper. That's what I'll be.
Just say it isn't true, please. I can't take it. I'm going to outer space if this happens.
Oh, well, there you go. But I was watching a video before. It sounds so silly, but Nordstrom's is having their anniversary sale. And I was shopping. And so I was looking, it's like a pair of shoes, and they actually have like videos of the Nordstrom's employees like showing the shoe and whatever. Anyway, the point of the story is like they had this video professionally done, but the person is wearing a mask. It's like, why are you wearing a mask? You're doing the video, like I understand the camera person, but you're talking. So kind of like to your point about comedians, it's like we can't wear a mask. None of that works.
Yeah, I'm really upset about it, but
behind the plexiglass, right?
Yeah, God give me strength. I can't take it. Anyway, let's move on to something else that's just as irritating. And mansplaining, this is man needs to explain. This just popped up from a long time ago. Charlie's Angels, Lucy Liu had an incident with Bill Murray. Apparently, there was a meeting and they changed the scene a little bit to make it work better. Bill Murray was too busy to be at the meeting, and when Lucy Liu started acting, he just went off on her, and to the point where she was like, "Are you talking to me?" Because like she was like the low woman on the totem pole and couldn't believe he was yelling at her, and she stuck up for herself, and people were really commending her for not letting him walk all over her. But once again, a man I wonder if it was a man to man, if he would have behaved that way.
But if you remember at the time period, they made it seem like Lucy Liu was the problem.
Yes.
In the press. They made it seem like she was the problem.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, a difficult woman.
I love Lucy Liu. She's an ambassador for UNICEF, for children all over the world, for hunger and for trafficking. She works really hard. You know, she was somebody who grew up poor. You know, she worked in sweatshops in Queens as a child, and she came up completely on her own and has amassed a lot for herself. And I like the fact that she's not taking any shit.
Go Lucy.
Yeah,
I love Lucy.
Bill Murray looks a little difficult. I mean, I realize we weren't there to see it, but I could definitely, definitely see that attitude from him, you know, because he's Bill Murray and he's been around a long time, and just sort of that, you know, that dominance, especially from that somebody from that era. So just interesting how things that happened, say 10, 15 years ago that were socially acceptable, or you didn't say anything for fear. Now, when you talk about it, it was like, oh my God, really? That's awful. So, you know, evolution.
He doesn't come out and apologize.
I don't think he will apologize.
He never will.
Yeah,
you know, it's really hard when somebody in a real position of power is just like openly shitty to you in public. I don't know if you guys have, I'm sure everybody here has experienced something like that. You know what I mean? It's really hard. It's really harsh. And a lot of times you're just kind of struck, like you're freaked out and you don't even know what to say. So I really like, wow, for her to stand up for herself like that, I just really appreciated it.
It was really fun. Just yesterday, I was driving my daughter and her friends back because it was late night and everything. And it was very dark, and I'm driving and a car in front of me pulls to the side. And I'm like, it was like so weird. I almost hit it. I was so mad at the person that pulled over. He gets out of the car holding a huge ice cream cone. I'm like, what is this guy doing? He comes over to me and starts yelling at me. And he's yelling like, where do you think you are? We're in Shelter Island. You shouldn't have your brights on. And I'm like, my brights aren't on. And I look down and my brights are on. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I think he was expecting to find like a nasty ass kid or something. And he looked at me. He's like, oh, you didn't know? Okay, thank you. And he got back in the car.
Let me say, I'm not going to be nice to anybody that approaches my car like that. You don't approach someone's car like that.
I was freaked out. I was just
yeah,
so
you
happy
should be.
He got back in his car. I mean, I wasn't that nervous because he was carrying a big ass ice cream cone, but
that was weird. That was kind of weird.
That's so funny.
He's gonna hit me with the ice cream cone.
I actually was worried about that. I was like, I'm wearing a new dress.
I almost never say if a guy talked to me a certain way that he would have never talked to a man that way. But one time I was at a show at Caroline's, and there was a comedian. I mean, I love his comedy. He's an amazing comedian. He was struggling with his set with this crowd, right? Just this crowd. I was loving the set. Louis Black was headlining. Louis Black was laughing away. So me and Louis were enjoying his set. I recognized that the crowd wasn't liking it. So afterwards, I just went to a comic and I said, hey, that was a great set. And he just like sounded off on me. He's like, no, okay? No, don't do that. All right. Do you know nothing about comedy? He just like went into a rage. And I was like, well, Louis Black was laughing. I would think he knows something about comedy. And he goes, and then the comic calmed down. And he said, okay, thank you. But I was still very upset about it. And when I met him again in the green room a couple of weeks later, I didn't confront him directly. Maybe I should have, but I made a sharp comment like, yeah, just don't ever give you a compliment about your set ever again. And he goes, oh, you talk about that time at Carol's? I'm like, yeah, I am. So I got to like get my point across, but not in as forceful a way as I wish I had the I don't know what is needed, courage or the balls to.
Yeah, I always struggle
You did
with
though.
that.
You did though. I'm glad you brought that up because that was good. No, I'm glad you did. He needed to be checked.
That little barb comment. I mean,
oh hell yeah, yeah. And you know what? I would do that shit again and again because he did do it, and he wants to act like a big baby about it. Maybe you'll stop bringing it up when he stops needing a pacifier every time it's brought up.
And Jocelyn, you can let us know who that is when we get off.
Well, that's what I once posted something recently about that, and when I was talking to someone about posting it, I said, well, should I just say it like randomly? And he's like, I hate when people do that. If you're gonna out someone, just like really out them. you know. So I like put the names in and everything. But yeah, I constantly confronted or think that when a man treats me like that, I always think to myself, would you treat another man like that? Would you talk to another man that way?
Most likely no.
Right.
Most likely
Yeah, so
no.
that was the thing with that comic. I was like, I don't think you have done this to a male comic. You would have been like, do you know anything about comedy? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm in the same goddamn lineup as you with Louis fucking Black.
Well, I will say that is a bad thing that happens in the comedy circuit. Whenever someone comes off the stage, everyone's like, "Good set." Do you notice? I remember when I first started, I thought that was I thought I had all these great sets, and I realized it was just a thing people do when you get off stage.
I mean, I
That's so
understand if
funny.
you don't
Yeah.
want, not everybody wants to socialize, and that's totally fine. Just be professional. Don't be dismissive. Don't be condescending. Just, just be a human being. Just be go in your corner and look at your thing, and do whatever. But nobody has to be. There's no need to be rude. I mean, especially like we should be try to be at least supportive. I mean, it's tough enough, and we don't need conflict within our own world. So
There is something to be said about speaking out, because I feel like, at least in my experience, the man can apologize. So there was I'll say his name because he ended up doing like it well. Ken Boyd, great comedian. I think I referred him to you, Felicia. And he was hosting a show, and after I got up, he goes, "All right, you can also see her at the massage parlor giving a happy ending." I was like, I lost my shit. Like, I know, right? Yeah, exactly. So I confronted him, and I was like, "Hey, that is wrong. I am your colleague. I'm a professional comedian. You to say something like that is racist, sexist, blah, blah." And I'm less sensitive than like some of those woke women because I'm a comedian. But even this was like, this crossed my line, and he was so apologetic. He's like, "Oh my God, you're absolutely right. I will never do that again." He apologized profusely, and this was in front of like everyone. I bitched him out in front of everybody, and ever since then we actually became good friends.
I thought you were going to say, if I'm going to be at a massage parlor, I'm getting the massage.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not working. Well, that's horrible, and I'm glad he. That's really hard. That's worse than my and now for a little estrogen introduction. So with that, guys, this was
what was it?
Oh, it's one of my. You take these bad things that happen and you turn them into comedy gold. It's now my opening line of, I was introduced on stage as like this and now for a little estrogen. And my joke is like, oh my God. My joke is like, oh my God, he still thinks I have estrogen.
I love that.
Anyway, ending on a happy note. If menopause can be a happy note, we need to stop the men, not pause them.
Well, at least I was getting a happy ending.
Yeah, right. No happy endings in the massage parlor, but happy endings here. Okay, this has gotten weird. This is Broadish. This is Broadish. I'm Felicia Madison.
I'm Hollie Harper.
I'm Jocelyn Chia.
And we're here with special guest Ellen Karis.
So much for having me, ladies. Nice to see everybody.
Thank you for joining us. This was fun.
My pleasure. My pleasure.